So if we change our breath, we can change our state literally in an instant.
And he used the breath to stop the poison from doing any harm.
Until you actually mobilise the thoracic cavity, you're not going to be able to have the capacity for deep breathing. So
I get into bed and I grab my best friend, my phone, which I shouldn't do.
I've told you about that so many times.
Hello and welcome to today's show. Her name is
Ali Francis and his name
is Stephen Conway, and welcome to the show. Today we're talking all things breath, which is Ali's expertise. Ali is a trained yoga teacher and breathwork and also sleep guru, and helps people sleep better using the power of the breath. So Ali, over to you. What did you find out recently that is of interest?
Well, recently, maybe not quite so recently, it was when I was writing my first book, Breathe Better, Sleep Better. There was some really interesting research that came out. And basically what it was saying that the brain is actually spying on the breath. Mm-hmm. So the breath is informing the nervous system. Mm-hmm. So the moment the breath changes, the nervous system changes. What that means is, it means that we have an awful lot more control of our nervous system than we think. So if we change our breath, we can change our state literally in an instant. Okay. So as an example, if you see something that frightens you, you go, ah! Like you just do that with your breath, and all of a sudden everything, of course, fires off. And then someone around you goes, just calm down, take a deep breath. And then true. What happens? You just calm straight down. The nervous system comes straight down. So fundamentally, it's basically saying that we have an awful lot of control over our state of mind and the state of the nervous system by changing the state of the breath and the way that you're breathing, because there is a breathing pattern for every single emotional state. Okay.
So I have seen Wim Hof do extraordinary things with the breath. So I've seen his, I've seen him on a number of podcasts, but I've also seen the Freeze the Fear or something. It was a BBC documentary, or I suppose you call it a documentary, but it was more like a not survival show, but it had celebrities who had to then go and do all these various different things, like jumping in a cold river, taking cold showers, jumping off the side of a mountain, all sorts of stuff. And his whole point was, if you use the breath, you can really control the autonomic system, which is what you're saying. So it's not just a yogic thing. There are, he's in one of his tests, they actually poisoned him, and he used the breath to stop the poison from doing any harm. And that was all in a scientific study. You can check that out. And then he also swam under the ice. I think he got the world record for the longest swim under ice, again just using the power of the breath. So it is obviously extremely powerful, otherwise we wouldn't have it. You said that there are different breaths for different emotional states, is that correct?
Yes, there is.
Because I'm not somebody who uses the breath a lot. I do when I'm stressed. I do have my little breathing exercise when I'm stressed. But you have lots of different breathing exercises, and I have experienced it occasionally. But fitting it into my routine is not something that I've quite conquered yet. So, two things. First of all, what's the easiest way to get into this to have the biggest effect? Okay. And how do they do it so that it's something that, or how do I do it so that it's something that I can do daily and go, actually, I look forward to this, because you really look forward to it.
I absolutely love it because of the effect it has on my state of mind. Yeah. It's just an amazing effect, and I feel so much more expansive. Yeah. So much calmer. Yeah. Because if you think about it, what's happening is you're oxygenating your brain. And while you say you don't have it in your routine, I really recommend that you stick it in your routine.
I'll stick it in my routine.
Because I know how much you like sticking things in to your routine. Anyway, yes, but I really wish you would, Stephen, and
Yes.
anyone out there, because I can tell you the
Yeah.
research is out there. Just ask Google.
Yeah.
Ask Google, because as you get older, your brain cells start dying. And if you are oxygenating your brain and expanding, it's expanding consciousness, but let's leave all the spiritual stuff out of it, physically, physiologically, it is so beneficial for your brain.
Yeah.
And the way to get into it, one of the things that you need to do is you need to, I always say, make space for the breath, because a lot of people, they don't really have the capacity for deep breathing because their rib cage is very tightly shut down.
Right.
There's a muscle in this whole rib cage area called the depression muscle, and it's an exhaling muscle, and it holds the breath, holds the rib cage down. Which means that when I say to someone, take a deep breath, what do? They go, they lift their shoulders, because that's the only way they can actually take a deep breath. Whereas what you need to be doing is you need to be opening and stretching all the muscles in your thoracic cavity so that your rib cage can actually move in and out. So until you actually mobilize the thoracic cavity, you're not going to be able to have the capacity for deep breathing. So one thing, when you mentioned about Wim Hof, he's got tremendous capacity for breathing. He's a yogi.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
He's basically a yogi. He's an amazing, accomplished yogi. And he's very spiritual as a result of his breath work. But he has so he does yoga as well, because when I say yoga, asanas, which are opening the thoracic cavity and stretching, so that when you take a deep breath, the actual whole rib cage opens three-dimensionally. Right. And then you can start getting breath in. And also, if you're breathing shallow, most of the volume of blood is in the lower lobes of the lungs because of gravity, right? So if you're shallow breathing and it's only just oxygen sort of coming into the top part of the chest, you're not going to get the benefits of the deep breathing, because the blood, majority of, is in the lower lobes of the lungs. So you want to oxygenate the majority of that blood so you get more blood into the bloodstream and into the brain.
Got it.
And it's extremely calming for the nervous system.
Yes.
Because when you haven't got much oxygen...
Are you saying that effectively a lot of the stress that we feel as a society is caused by us not breathing properly?
I would say it could well be, because when you think about it, I have people that come all the time, and I observe. I watch how they're breathing and how they're speaking, and just when there's a gap, I kind of like just watch them to try to tune in. And most people, when I also do breath testing when I've got someone with me, and I just see where their rib cage is moving. And they're speaking quite fast, they're quite shallow breathing, and you think, calm down, just take a deep breath. So I think that a lot of people, anyone who's stressed, their breathing pattern will be completely different. It will be very shallow and a lot faster. And I notice I've had periods where I've had very high stress, and I almost feel like I'm suffocating because I can't take a deep breath, because I'm so stressed out, my rib cage doesn't seem to move. And I have to really sort of take myself off, peel myself off the walls so that I can really calm down in order to get the breath. So just, really like soften and lie down for a few minutes. Or, we were talking about the biomat the other day and your lovely red light therapy. You will probably notice if you're there for like 20 minutes and you just breathe long and deep, you'll suddenly feel like, I feel so relaxed. A, because you've got the light, and B, because you're deep breathing. So going back to your question about how do you get into it, basically, if you just sat or laid down...
Do nothing for...
But you're doing something. You're doing something. Just sit and follow your breath, because the moment you put
Is it something I could... Because I wake up a little bit early. Is that something I can do? Do you do it in bed, or do you get up to do it?
No. Well, when I go to bed in the evening, I do in bed. I do something in bed. I mean, I do some deep, full yogic breathing in bed because I'm on my back. But when I do my practice in the morning, I'm sat and I do a full pranayama practice.
And how long does that take?
Well, I sit. My pranayama and my meditation
is pranayama the breath work?
Pranayama is a breath work, yes. Okay, pranayama is a breath work. What pranayama means, it means the expansion of prana, expansion of life force, or expansion of oxygen, if you like, but it's really the expansion of energy. So, when sometimes you feel small and your breath is short and you don't feel expansive, you can't be creative. And we were watching I don't know whether you watched it, but Brian Johnson, he was talking about posture.
I haven't got to that bit yet. Well, I did watch a little bit more yesterday, but... So
posture is massive. So what I get people to do is I have yoga belts and I get them to tie their shoulders back with a yoga belt, a special way of putting it, putting pressure on the yoga belt, bring their shoulders back, and that feels like it's, even though you're liberating the chest, it feels like you're liberating the mind at the same time. We've done it. You've been at my house and I've tied your chest up, Stephen. Do you not remember? Come on. You don't remember me tying you up. Now,
it isn't one of those shows, This is not, we're not segueing into fetish.com here.
But I have tied you up before.
You have tied me up. In the best possible taste.
Yes.
But yes, you did. And it did, that has helped. And actually, one of the biggest things that has helped me with that is my personal trainer. So he does a lot of exercises that are counterbalancing to me doing the kind of chest type exercises, which are the bar, what's it called? Oh, bloody hell, I've been doing this for so long and I still don't know what it's called, but it's the chest press stuff.
Okay,
and then
stuff.
with the bar.
Oh, okay.
And then
laying
on your back, and then the bar with the weights on it. There's probably people screaming at the thing now, going, "How do you forget that? You big idiot!"
The bench press.
Bench press. And then also the ones where you do it with the dumbbells, so you got the free weights as well.
Yeah.
And then he gets me to do the reverse of those. And actually, I have found that my posture has improved massively over the course of the last 2 years of doing personal training with him, because he's really insistent on me having the balance of those exercises, and it does feel so much better. You feel so much more in control with your posture being in a better place. And I would assume then that part of that is the breathing element of it.
Absolutely.
So let's get in. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because you've actually got space. So, for example, just for a couple of seconds, if you and everyone else everyone would just sort of slide down in the chair a bit and sort of roll your shoulders down a little bit.
Yeah, just like straight
and
away.
Then try and take a deep breath.
And then
just notice how you feel. Exactly.
I'm struggling to get a deep breath in, but also immediately I feel like I'm disempowered.
Exactly. Now,
as soon as I do that, I feel like I'm in my element and I'm in my what's the word? When you're like in your
power.
Yes, in my power. That's a great way of describing it.
Yeah.
And also just it helps me think straight as well. We've just been talking about, just off camera, about the fact that when we do this, we're talking to the camera as opposed to looking at each other on a screen. And that's interesting, is that when I am posturally doing that, I do find it much easier to think straight when talking to you, but not looking at you.
Yes, exactly. And I found that.
It really is about just getting like my back. I try and keep my back as straight as possible. And then I just find that my brain then just works better.
I mean, if you remember, you probably will remember years ago when we did all those Anthony Robbins things. One of the things he talks about is posture. He talks about if you change your posture, you change your mind. But if you change your posture, you change your breath. If you change your breath, you change your mind.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. So for you to get something in the morning, okay, I know you're doing cardiovascular stuff,
Yeah.
but actually doing some of the things that
yeah, no, absolutely. And as I said previously, when I actually go to bed and do my breathing in, holding, and breathing out, if I do that, I do end up having a better night's sleep. Right, that's number one. And I tend to go to sleep quicker, but I inevitably end up forgetting to do it. I get into bed and I grab my best friend, my phone, which I shouldn't do.
I've told you about that so many times.
I know.
Like,
I know.
when are you ever going to learn? You know, you've got to practice what you preach. You've got to practice what you preach.
Well,
you don't practice what you bloody preach. Hello?
Hello. Part of this is not just about helping other people to achieve nirvana, but it's also helping myself achieve nirvana, because I'm not perfect, as my sister told me on the phone yesterday.
Well, no one's perfect, my
Oh,
dear.
dear.
To go back to your question about how to get started is literally, do not worry about any complex anything. You literally change your posture. You know, there are special things to tie your shoulders back, but I'll put a link to a video where I've got a demonstration of the belting of the chest. You just open up your posture and you close your eyes and you put your awareness on the breath and just see how long and deep you can breathe. That's all you need to do, because that's a very starting point. Okay. All the very deep, strong breathing techniques that are around, unless you've got the capacity in the thoracic cavity, you're not actually going to be able to do it and get the real benefit from it. So step one is liberating the thoracic cavity and learning to tune in, because most people are so unconscious because it's a thing that we do and we're completely unconscious of it, right? We're not conscious of it. But the moment you become conscious, the breath will start talking to you and you will start tuning in to the messages of the breath. And if you think, we're breathing about 21,600 times per day.
How many?
21,600. 21,600. About just over 21,000 times a day.
How many minutes are there in a day?
How many minutes are there in a day? I don't know, you can work that out. You
can work that out. Minutes in a day is 24 by 60.
If you've got a calculator, you can calculate it.
24 by 6 is 120 plus 24 is 144. So it must be 144.
No, not
14,400.
No, it's about 21,000 times 21,000.
My maths teacher will be
That's about 21,000.
turning in a grave.
Get your calculator out while I'm still looking at the camera.
By 24 is 1,440, not 1,440 minutes. I can't remember what I said, but I think it was 144,000. My daughter would be proud of me. Not.
Yes, right.
Yeah, math's never been one of my strong points. Okay, however, 1,440, and then so you're saying 23,000.
21,000 times a day.
21,000. So if I do 60, it's 86,400 seconds a day.
Oh God.
Okay, of which you're saying that we're breathing 20, how many times?
About 21,000 times a day.
21,000, which means we're taking...
You're doing the maths, I'm not. I'm always been rubbish at maths.
Is it one breath every 4 seconds? No, that can't be right, can it? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Depends. Now, one of the other things is that...
Yeah, that's one breath every 4 seconds.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So now if you can learn to slow the breath down for certain times of day, right? So if you think of, apparently the yogis will tell you you're born with a certain number of breaths in a lifetime. But if you look at the lifespan of like a tortoise or an elephant, they breathe very slowly. They have a very long
And they live a long
lifespan.
life. Okay. So are you saying then that
Yes.
if I do, I'm going to live less?
Yes, I am. And if you
Hang on.
yes.
Right.
Apart from all your Mr. Conway's antics, but yes, if you actually, because the thing is, if you're fitter and you're less stressed, the fundamental thing is that you're actually going to be breathing less times in a minute, right? So you're going to cut that number of breaths down in a day anyway. So in theory, that will help with your longevity. Okay, so
Okay.
but that's sort of a thing aside, but definitely for the brain. And also, if you think about the way that the body moves for breathing, the diaphragm comes up and down, right? It's a bit like a jellyfish.
Okay.
If you are breathing in a shallow way, the diaphragm is not really doing much, right? It's just sort of very, very shallow. Therefore, all that lovely massage that your internal organs are getting from the diaphragm, which is a function of the diaphragm, it goes up and down, squeeze and flush, squeeze and flush. It is really beneficial for the digestion, for the organs, for fresh blood, squeezing things through. That's how the body is supposed to work. And obviously, when we have moments of stress, flight or flight,
Fright or
fight,
No.
flight or fight or freeze,
Flight or fight.
flight or freeze. Yeah. I've lost my train of thought there. Yes, so yes, but you're supposed to be able to come back down from that. So you get the energy to do what you need to do, run or fight and then you come back to normal. But a lot of people stay in that state. So the diaphragm's not doing much, and then the digestion gets a bit sort of stuck, and the nervous system is always on sympathetic. And of course, all that will affect your ability or your longevity, right? So breathing is sleep and breathing are my two big
ones.
big ones, and I cannot stress enough. And of course,
So take us through then. Like how many do you do in that 45 minutes? How many different types of breathing do you do? And let's go through one of them for now to get started. We can always come back to this on another one. Just take us through. I know which one apart from the one I do where I breathe in, hold it, and then breathe out. My other one I love is the alternate nostril breathing. That really does change my state. That one is awesome. So is that the one that you recommend the most? Or what's your top tip for somebody watching this at home now to go, I want to put this into action. What is the first really cool breath that I can do that will make a difference?
Okay, well, the first really cool breath that you can do that will make a difference is the one that I spoke about a while ago, or whenever, a few minutes ago, is that making space, putting awareness on the breath and slowing the breath right down. That's the fundamental first.
And that's it. Yeah.
Number one. And the one that you're talking about is the anulome-vilome, or anulome-vilome is alternate nostril breathing without the holds. Nadi Shodhana is alternate nostril breathing with the holds. Right?
Nadi what?
Nadi Shodhana is the one where you have the holds. You inhale, hold, exhale, hold.
Yeah.
That's Nadi Shodhana.
That's the one I do. Yeah.
Yeah, so you do that one. That's more of an advanced one. The straightforward alternate nostril breathing is the sort of beginner's one, if you like.
Okay.
And also, the benefit of that is that you're balancing the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which is why you feel so great.
Right.
Because you're balancing, because the left side is a parasympathetic and the right side is a sympathetic.
Right. Or in my case, completely pathetic.
Completely pathetic. But one of the things that if you go onto YouTube or you look at these things, when you're doing it, you must make sure that you finish on the left.
Okay. So let's do one together.
Right.
All
Okay.
right.
Right.
So people
Get
can
your
literally watch
fingers. Yes. Get your fingers right. The
like
ring
that.
finger and the little finger and the thumb is out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. You're going to exhale completely. Exhale completely. Close your right nostril.
I do it this way, which is rather than closing my nostril, which I then find it then blocks afterwards when I release it. So if I do it like this and block the hole, I can't think of another word for it.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you. No, don't do
Because
that.
why?
You can block. You hold the skin on the side of the face while
Okay.
you're inhaling, so you won't get the blockage, right? And
Okay.
then when you change it, you're just holding the skin.
So hang on a second.
All right.
I am using the wrong. Am I using the wrong finger? I
Right.
am
So
using
the
the wrong
ring
fingers.
finger and the little
I'm
fingers
using the
out.
wrong fingers. There you go.
All
Okay.
right. Right.
Got
Let's
it.
start again, Stephen Conway.
Okay. Go ahead.
Exhale, completely empty. Exhale. Close the
Hmm.
right nostril.
Hmm.
Support the left nostril and inhale through the left nostril. Right. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Close the left nostril and then open the right nostril. Open the skin a bit. Exhale, right. Okay. Inhale, right. Right to the top. Close the right nostril, exhale left. You can use the finger to help open the nostril and then relax the hand and breathe normally. That's just
Right.
one round. Okay,
Got
so
it.
you use the fingers to
That
stop
helps.
so it doesn't stick.
That's where I was going wrong, because I find that when I do
Yeah,
that, it's suddenly
yeah,
blocked. It's suddenly
yeah.
blocked.
You
So
use the fingers to
to
sort of like
stretch it
open
out,
the,
a bit
stretch
like
it
when I
out.
used to wear when I snored, I had those breathe right strips
That's
that went
right. Yeah,
over the thing. They just
yeah.
hold it out, don't they?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Mm.
But that's something that you don't even have to worry about. Just worry about opening the rib cage, opening up,
Mm.
stretching, posture, and sitting and putting your awareness on the breath and breathing long and deep as possible.
Mm.
Extend the exhale longer than the inhale.
Right.
Okay, right, and then that's step one.
That's
Well,
step
step
one.
10. That's probably step 10. But anyway,
Okay.
that's a
So
good thing to do.
basically, if we were going to do it, step one is breathe out slowly.
Are we
Step
doing
two.
yeah, if you're
No,
doing
I'm just
analog,
going. No, I'm going back to your original point one, which is to breathe out, then breathe in nice and slowly,
yes,
hold
that's
it,
it.
and then breathe out slower than you breathe in.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
almost as double the length out as you breathe in. So you can breathe in
Okay.
like 4, exhale 8.
Yeah.
Inhale 4, exhale 8.
And
Perfect.
don't hold it. Just breathe in
Not to
and
start
breathe
with,
out. Okay. Just as an
just
easy way in. Yep.
easy way in.
And
Just be.
how many times do you do that in order to get started?
If you sat for 10 minutes and did
Oh,
that
10 minutes.
every
Bloody hell.
single day,
I haven't got 10 minutes to do
you
that.
have, everyone's got 10 minutes. It
I
will
have not.
benefit.
Do you know
Stephen,
why? Do you know why
why?
I haven't got 10 minutes?
Why?
Because I'm on my phone for 11 hours and 14 minutes a day.
Right.
So
Okay.
there's no way that I can find 10 minutes.
Just cut 10 minutes out your scrolling time. You know, you said you were in bed, you could pick up your best friend. Yeah?
Yes.
Just pick up your best friend 10 minutes after.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Do you know what?
anyway.
If I do that, the thing is, I know that if I do that, I'm actually then going to fall asleep. I actually fall asleep quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I would
It
do
will
that
help
breathing in.
enormously. So actually, that's a very good bedtime routine. 10
Mm, it
minutes,
is.
sit, shoulder, just remember the posture, lengthen through the crown of the head,
Yeah.
shoulders back, and just have your eyes closed. Have the room in darkness, preferably.
Right.
And just sit and breathe for 10 minutes.
Do you
Long exhale.
do you think of anything at that stage? Like, do you do any manifesting while you're breathing, or you just focus on the breath? In other words, you just go deep in on, I'm just going to listen or feel or sense the breath going in and out, or what's yeah? What do you do?
I'm personally focusing on my breath because I'm leading into meditation.
Okay.
So I'm using that breath work to tie my mind to the breath so that my mind becomes really quiet. But absolutely, on other times of day, you could sit and just sort of breathe in well-being exhale things that you don't need, or there's lots of little mantra type things that you can use with the breath. There's plenty of them, but I don't actually use it for that. I use it to get me into a meditation. That's what I use it for.
Got it. We've run out of time.
Oh no, there's so much to say.
So much to say. It's another subject that we will be coming back to at some stage, I'm sure.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your little explanations. Thank you for joining
Stephen.
us. If you've enjoyed it, her name is?
My name's Ali Francis, and his name
is Stephen Conway. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.